Good evening, everybody. Dr. Carmen Bryant from Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and the program called Redefining Yourself, a program that was developed for women that are contemplating leaving and needing more information or recovering from domestic violence, specifically narcissist abuse. I just wanted to come on just a few minutes. I had something on my mind before I turn in for the evening, and I just wanted ladies who are, thinking about leaving, or those that have left domestic violence relationships. There were a couple of videos that I've done, and keep in mind, this is not just for women. It was a program developed for women, but this applies to men as well. But there is, as I was thinking, when we as parents, those of you that are parents, or of course all of you had someone that raised you, hopefully someone that has raised you, and for those of you that have not, whether in foster care, but parents' responsibilities is to prepare, or are to prepare their children for the world. Teach them things like please and thank you, yes ma'am, no sir, prepare them for the world, and we impart in them, plant seed in them, and raise them and mold them while they're little kids, to operate in this world. Well, those of you that have been in domestic violence, or especially, have been in a relationship with a narcissist, you have been trained as well. You train them, how to handle you. You have trained them as what was acceptable and what was unacceptable. And when we've been hurt and come from families or relationships where you felt rejected or neglected, it was easy to be pulled into relationships in which a person has manipulated you into thinking that it was the perfect relationship you wanted. You said, you trained that man or woman, you have trained that person, and that person has trained you. You have trained that person at what your soft points were, what your painful points were, and just like, and I hate to compare people to animals, but, with a dog, you train a dog. It's classical conditioning, and you train a dog, what they should do. In other words, you give them a treat, when they do well, or you train them over and over again. Classical conditioning, remember? You train a dog, my cat is trained that when we open up the closet door, he knows that he's going to get food. So as soon as he sees us walk in the kitchen toward the closet door, he goes and sits in front of his bowl, because he knows that the closet door, when you open the closet door, is associated with putting food in his bowl. And so instead of following you over there, he'll sit in front of the bowl and wait for you to come bring him food. A cat, that's an animal with, well, they say that they don't have emotions, but they live off of instinct. And so think about it for a minute. Being in a relationship with a person that has abused you, they have trained you, and you have trained them. And so having to leave, making the decision to leave, or in the midst of making the decision to leave, you're leaving, and someone else has trained you on how to think about yourself. Many women come into my office and let me know that they have a low self-esteem. They think they're ugly. I'm not very smart. I can't do this. I'm not educated enough. I'm not, I can't. So most of the things that I hear when they come in the office is all the negative things. And I question them, well, who told you that? Many of them usually say that's how I feel, and everything that has happened around me, indicates or proves that, I'm not worthy or I can't do. Well, someone told you that. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, that narcissist was the one who told you that. A narcissist is a person that wears shades, and you know how the shades on the outside have the mirrors where you can't see their eyes, but you can see your reflection in their glasses. Imagine a person wearing glasses with the mirrors on the inside of the glasses. And so they see you by what they see in their glasses. And remember, we talked about projection. And so what they see in the glasses, they project on you. They assume that everybody thinks the way that they think, and act the way that they act, or play the games that they play. So automatically they assume that you are just like them. No one in this world is any different than they are. And so I've heard narcissists say, I know how you're thinking, and all I have to do is say this, and all I have to do is do this. Or, when you're under pressure, I know I know from experience, I know, but they assume that everybody thinks the same way that they think. So all the ugly things. I even heard a lady say that when her husband asked her what she was doing, she said the same thing you are, and he became furious and called her a whore. Think about it. He told on himself, and she says, well, he gave me the answer. Imagine having to live life like that. But to leave out of a relationship, especially if you've been in an extended relationship, a long relationship with someone, they have trained you at how to think about yourself. And a lot of times you're living off of someone else's thoughts, not your own thoughts. And then when you do try to learn to have self-esteem, learn to love yourself, most women don't even want to be by themselves and jump right back into another relationship, and you're never happy. Some women, get into a relationship because the man has money or, has something to offer, but it's a miserable relationship. They're not happy with that individual. So they'll take, the lesser of the two evils. Well, he may cuss me out, he may beat me, but at least I have a roof over my head and we eat. Think about how you're thinking, And for some women, they came out of homes like that. That's how they actually were taught, by people around them. Or a narcissist tells his wife, any woman would be happy to be with me. You're such an ungrateful woman. A woman, they would kill themselves to be with me. You don't know how good you have it. Remember, everything they do for a reason, to make themselves feel good. They buy things to make themselves feel good or make themselves look better, or it's that grandiose ego and that grandiosity. But you think about it, when you leave out of a relationship, you have to learn to love yourself again. You have to learn to love yourself anyway. You've never learned to like yourself. You question yourself about your abilities. You question yourself about, being free. Have you ever been free? Have you ever been at peace? Have you ever been in your own home where there's not, a high level of anxiety in your home? What is it like to be by yourself? Some women don't like to be by themselves or, even think for themselves. They can't handle the quiet. Do you take yourself out to eat? First get to like yourself. Do you like yourself? And most women don't like themselves because of what they've been told. You can't live off of what someone has told you about yourself. You're not ugly. You're not stupid. Think about this. In one of the videos I said, the narcissists attached themselves to you for a reason. They saw value in you, and they saw something that they wanted. They saw value in you. They saw something that they wanted, and they're jealous over you. That should tell you something right there. They attached themselves to a source of supply, and you are a good source of supply. They may have depleted you emotionally. They may have depleted you mentally. Now is the time for you to recover. And remember, in the last one I told you, when you start recovering, you have to go through the grief and loss process of a lost relationship. The thing that you don't want to do is stalk them, and look at their Facebook page. They know that you're watching. So they'll do things on purpose to get your reactions. And when you respond or you call them, you make a response, you have just answered their question. They know that they're still antagonizing you. They're still, harassing you. They're still hurting you. It's time to detach yourself. And the process of detaching yourself and recovery sometimes can be a long and hard process. If you think about it, when you go after surgery, when you go to physical therapy, sometimes, especially if it was a major surgery, this is a major surgery, ladies, a major surgery, leaving out of domestic violence, leaving out of narcissist abuse, a major surgery. You can't expect to be okay as soon as you leave the relationship. It takes time to heal from any kind of abusive relationship. It takes time to heal when you have been mentally and emotionally abused, even physically abused. Ladies, some of you are in a relationship where they're abusing your children. And when I say abusing your children, I'm talking about physically and sexually abusing your children. Some of you have been sexually abused yourself growing up. And so your mind, for some women, their minds cannot tolerate, I'm so sorry, but their minds cannot handle that this is possible, that this could be happening again. Some women dissociate because the pain and the reality of what is happening is so intense. Their mind dissociates in order to be able to handle the pain of even imagining a person doing something to their children. And for some of you, you've witnessed it and don't know what to do. You can't defend yourself, and you can't even defend your own children. And for someone to say, I can't believe you would allow, that's because they've never been through abuse like that before. But ladies, this is dangerous to you, and it's dangerous to your children. Your mind, your body, your health, stress kills. And for those of you that have been in domestic violence for a long time, your stress levels are entirely too high. That adrenaline, and I teach a lot of my clients that are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of you are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And post-traumatic stress is, when you are at that high level of anxiety, you have adrenaline pumping into your system. And remember the fight, flight, or freeze. So you have all that adrenaline pumping into your system. And on one of the videos, I was talking really, really fast. But what I was trying to say is that, when the adrenaline is pumping into your system, is a signal to your body, we have to do something right now. And what happens is it slows down the blood that pumps into your major organs. And it increases your heart rate. And I think I said that wrong on one of them. I didn't mean to. I was talking really fast. But what happens is it suppresses the immune system, and it slows the blood flow into your major organs, and it increases your heart rate. Well, it's supposed to be spurts of adrenaline to let your body increase in strength. It's kind of an easy way to say it. To increase in strength, because your body is being informed, I need to do something. But if you live your life like that, it's not healthy to live your life at high levels of adrenaline pumping into your system. Just like the gentleman that was a hunter said, a Southern boy, and he said, Carmen, you never want to shoot a deer when a deer spook. You shoot a deer when a deer is relaxed. I said, okay, that makes sense. He said, because of the fact that when he spooked, the adrenaline is pumping into his system, which makes the meat tough, and it also makes the meat bitter. So there's a different taste. Those of you that are hunters and like deer meat, I've never tasted it, but I think I tasted it once. It was too greasy for me. And so what he said was probably because of the fact that the meat was too tough, and there was adrenaline pumping into the meat that made the muscles made the meat tough. He says you want to shoot the deer when the deer is relaxed and doesn't know that you're there, so that by the time they're shot, they're already dying, so that adrenaline doesn't have the time to pump into the muscles, because that adrenaline is informing that deer. Remember, fight, either fight you back because it's a life and death situation, fight, fright, meaning you're afraid, and what happens many times when you're afraid, you're either going to run, you're going to flee, or you're going to freeze. Remember the deer in the headlight? Look, they're talking about the deers. They're so afraid that they freeze, and that's how they end up getting hit. But think about it, when you're going through high levels of stress like that, and post-traumatic stress, and you're being triggered over and over again, remember the abuser keeps you in a consistent and perpetual state of anxiety, and you have that adrenaline pumping into your system, and it's telling your body, I have to do something. So it's almost like it's being missignaled, and you're being triggered. But what ends up happening is it starts to break down your immune system, so that your immune system is unable to regenerate itself. The body can't protect itself. It can't protect itself against simple things like colds and stomach problems and muscle problems and joint problems, but it has a hard time fighting off diseases. So you see a lot of people that have lived in high levels of stress. Many women that I have met that have been in abusive relationship, especially the narcissists. Remember, I see a lot of narcissist abuse cases. And a lot of them that have been in these situations for a prolonged period of time, they have all sorts of health issues. And they're on all sorts of medication. They're being seen by the doctor, for all sorts of health issues, gynecological problems, stomach issues, migraines, headache, tension, especially like in the neck area. They have a lot of neck problems and back problems, muscle issues, So ladies, this what you're living in is slowly killing you. They don't mind. A narcissist doesn't mind you committing suicide or you dying. They don't have a problem with that. That's how selfish they are. you know. And so it comes a time where you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision. And I know someone is listening and you're in between making a decision to leave. That is the best decision you'll ever make in your whole life. One of the hardest decisions that you'll ever have to make in your whole life, but the best decision that you'll ever make in your whole life. You know, there are resources out there. Trust yourself. Trust that you are not stupid. Trust that you are capable of getting back on your feet. Women, we've been doing it for thousands of years. We've been raising children by ourselves. You know, we have been single parents, large families, small families. Mama held it together. You know, mama held it together. You know, there are a community of men that are not narcissists, but there are men out there. And when I say men, I don't mean men trying to get into a relationship with you, but big brothers and you know, men that are willing to help you. But you have to be careful, because if you're not healed, you won't even catch the predators that are trying to pursue your children. And in this time and season, this world now, you know, you have predators that are preying on the mother, they're preying on the children, and narcissists, if they're sexual predators, they'll prey on a weak mother that needs help with her kids in order to get to her kids. Ladies, you have to protect your children. You have to protect your children at all costs. Their mental and their physical. There's too many child abductions taking place now. You know, there are too many things that are happening in this world. We have to stand up. We have to heal, and we have to be able to protect our children, ladies. You know, it's time. It's time to leave the relationship. It's time. It's time to recover. It's time to love yourself. I don't care if you're 500 pounds. I don't care if you're 2 pounds. I don't care if you're bald-headed. I don't care if you like wigs and weaves. It doesn't matter. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful woman. You're a powerful woman. We've did it for many, many, many years. You know, we call it, I don't know what they call the bounce back. That's what the kids call it, the bounce back. You have the bounce back. It's inside of you. You know, do not live off of the words that someone has put into you based off of how they perceive themselves. You're living off of words that were not even your words. You're living off of perceptions and ideas that someone has imparted in you to maintain control over you. If I can break you down and make you feel weak, if I can break you down and depend on me, then I will always have control over you. Ladies, whatever he said to you is not true. Whatever he said to you is a perception of himself. Remember the glasses with the mirror on the inside. He's projecting on you. You're too powerful for that. You're queens, and queens should be treated by queens, and queens should be with kings. And there are kings out there that have also been through this type of abuse, horrible abuse by their parents, horrible abuse by their caretakers. And it's a learned behavior, and they repeated the behavior. Remember I said before, you know, not all abused people abuse people, but majority of all abusers have been abused, and it's a learned behavior, you know. And so we have to break this tragedy. We have to stop this tragedy, but it takes, you know, in the form of education. It takes a form of learning what you're going through. I had a conversation today, and I've had a conversation before. You know, a lot of women have emailed me, have talked to me personally, and said, you know, I've always known something was wrong. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't have words to put to it. You know, and I also had a discussion. I really like following Miss Angie Atkinson. She's really, really good. And what I said was before is that here I am as a clinician, and I sit in the office and I talk to women every day, all day, every day. For years, I've talked to them about narcissist abuse. However, when I talked about the abuse, I talked to them on the therapeutic side of the house, and use the therapeutic terms and mental health terms and psychological terms. And when I begin to watch these coaches talk about the very thing that I was talking about, and a lot of them are not mental health professionals, but it's a whole nother terminology and a whole nother world in narcissist abuse, whole different terms. And we're going to talk about different terms. Hoovering. We talked about gaslighting before, you know, the flying monkeys, you know, what else? You know, a whole bunch of terminology which makes so much sense. I was talking about it for many years and didn't realize it had its own terminology. And what I did was I had my clients, you know, connect with her on YouTube to listen to what I was saying all along in the first place. And I began to listen, realize there's a whole nother language which is what was more easier to comprehend. And so now we have words that we can put, with our experiences. Now it makes sense, what we've been through. And no longer are we in the dark. Now we're being educated. You're getting the education. You're getting the knowledge that you need to make an informed decision to leave. Many of you have, you're thinking to yourself, when I leave, I'm leaving with nothing. I'm giving up everything, but that's okay. Material things can be replaced, but your life cannot. Material things can be replaced, but your children's life cannot. And when you have children, when you make a decision to leave, if your children have been through this abuse, it takes a long time for you to have to go back. You can never change their experiences, but it takes a long time to help them through the process of healing as well. There are some children that walk away from their parents, mothers, walk away from their mothers and never want to have anything to do with them because of the fact that they felt like they could have been protected. They looked at women, their parents or mother, as being weak, and I don't understand why you couldn't leave, why you couldn't make that decision. But we talked about that before. Don't make a woman feel bad and re-victimize her by asking her, why didn't you just leave? Go back and listen to Trauma Bonds to get an understanding why some of these women couldn't leave the situation that they were in. But I encourage you, queens, every queen deserves a king and every king deserves a queen. However, before you two try to connect with each other, the best thing that I can tell you is to heal first. As I said to a young lady I was speaking to, just like with me, sometimes it takes a while. It's a process to peel an onion, and every layer has a whole different type of issues. Some issues go way back to childhood. Not just with the abuse, it goes back to childhood, at the decisions that were made then that caused you to make the decision that you made as an adult and connected with the people that you connected. But queens, you're queens. We're royal and we're queens. And queens deserve kings and kings deserve queens. But you have to heal. You have to heal. You have to make that decision. You have to save yourself. You have to save your life. And there's a tribe of us out there that are willing to cheer you on, give you the resources, give you the high five. As I said before, I'm creating the program, a coaching program. I do and I will begin meeting with groups of women. What I'll do is I will rent out a conference room within the hotels, depending on what county you're in here in the state of Washington. And we're going to get together and we're going to meet. If you have a group of 20 women or more and you want me to come to your location, contact me at Dr. Carmen Bryant at Outlook.com, DrCarmenBryant at Outlook.com, and I'll put together a package for you and let you know, at least a group of 20 women or more, and we'll talk about. I will come out and talk to you. I will come out and personally talk to you, about this situation, this dilemma, this work that we need to get done, for these women to come out of the situations and never go back into these type of situation again. But the more informed, the more knowledge you have, the better your choices are when it comes to a partner, when it comes to a lifelong partner. You deserve respect, and you deserve the highest respect. Back when we were young, we used to call us, the guys used to call us gold diggers. We're not gold diggers, but I want to have a future. Let me see what you have. Let me lay on the table what I have. You lay on the table what you have. And let's see what we can build together. Not what I'm going to show you I have so that you can come and take what I have and build off of what I have, without you contributing to it. Ladies, sometimes women get so desperate that they want to mate. You accept anything, but you're worth more than just anything. You can't just pick, out of the worst that I can ever get, I just pick the bad, Does that make sense? So ladies, I just wanted to come on and I just wanted to be an encouragement this evening. It was on my mind on my way home. I'm going to turn in, so I'm going to take off these wonderful eyelashes and these beautiful eyebrows and this beautiful hair, and I'm going to go to sleep. But I'll be thinking about you guys while I'm asleep at the next topic. Please, take the opportunity to inbox me or email me at drcarmenbryant at Outlook.com. You're welcome to go to my professional Facebook page, Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Just stay tuned because I'm going to change the name to Redefining Yourself, the actual program. Please go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant with a T, and it's Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for your support. And remember, queens, remember what I told you. Every queen deserves a king, and every king deserves a queen. But before you two connect, you have to heal first. You have to learn to love yourself, learn to date yourself, learn to be by yourself, learn to sit quiet by yourself, learn to be with your own mind. Don't go find something as a coping because you have no coping skills. Don't go find something to substitute drugs, alcohol, or another man or another bad habit. Learn to heal and learn to love yourself first. Love yourself, because once you love yourself, I learned to be in peace and quiet. I like peace and quiet. I don't like a stressful environment. And because I have learned to enjoy the peace and quiet, I don't like for people to break my peace and quiet. It took me many years to get to this. I deserve peace and quiet. My family deserves peace and quiet. When I say peace and quiet, I mean an atmosphere that does not have a high stress and high anxiety level. It is beautiful. It is peaceful. It keeps you at peace. You have to learn to get to that point, and some people have never been there before, so they don't know what to do when they get it. It's just like a woman with a good man. You don't know what to do with the good man, so you self-sabotage. So that means you may not be ready to date yet. Take your time and heal first. Heal first. Go through your physical therapy. Find a mentor. Find a mental health professional. Find a counselor that specializes, in trauma. If you are in the Tacoma or in the Pierce County area, if you're in Washington State, you're welcome to make an appointment with me. You're welcome to go to my website. You'll find the website on my professional Facebook page and make an appointment with you. Those of you stay tuned. I'm putting together I am a certified life coach. I am putting together a program, and I do travel. If you need me to travel, I will be honored to travel to come and speak, to you about this situation, this horrible situation going on in men and women's lives, especially our women, domestic violence and narcissist abuse. Once again, thank you so much. And as my friend always says, go and be great.